channel. This is English 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 Channel.
大変お待たせいたしました。それでは始めさせて
We
い
would
ただ
like to begin the session. At ACK Talks 2025, we will host 9 talk sessions based on the theme 2050, A Vision Towards the Future, with the aim of enhancing our conference functions and building a community centered on culture and the arts. We will explore new perspectives and value for the years ahead. Together with the leading figures in modern art, we will reflect on new values for the future through discussions on themes such as art in everyday life, reinterpreting culture and sustainability, and the relationship between humans and technology.
巡らせるためのトークプログラムを展開しています。ここからは京都大学
So, in the next session, titled Kyoto Dialogue, we welcome artists Olafur Eliasson and Toryo Ito, Vice-Abbot of Ryosoku-in at Kennin-ji, Kyoto's oldest Zen temple. Together, they will share their perspective on art in our fast-moving contemporary society, as well as their views on nature and the mind and the spirit. The conversation will be moderated by Yukako Yamashita, ACK Fair Director.
皆様こんにちは。
Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for visiting ACK.
早速ですが、
So, we would get straight into the topic.
その一
We
人で
have one of the head figures of modern art. We have Olafur Eliasson, and then also we have
本当に、禅寺
the Vice-Abbot of one of the famous Zen temples, Ryosoku-in Temple, Kennin-ji. We have Toryo Ito, the Vice-Abbot.
に目まぐるし
So, again, this world is changing ever so quickly.
は
And compared to that, Kyoto always has been and still is. It has this very unique way the time passes. It's slower than the surroundings,
気が私も
or at least I feel so too.
リアソン
So, Olafur,
のニューヨークのタイムズスクエア
you created this piece in New York, Times Square, and then also in Los Angeles. You have your pieces as well. And I really feel that it makes you rethink about the relationship with time and your surroundings and environment.
禅伊藤さんが
And now with Ito-san
両側院さんをはじめとした
at the Zen temple, Kennin-ji, you are leading the Zen philosophy, which is centered around time and space. So we would like to start our discussions from that aspect of time, space, and relationship. So, Ito-san,
中に流れるように
I just mentioned how the time may be passing slower in Kyoto compared to the surroundings. In this modern day and age, we have social network, and that is really accelerating how the society is moving forward. But when we look into how we perceive time and the space that passes inside of our feelings and senses, how do you see that from Zen philosophy? Is there like a meditative effect that will regain your numbed senses?
いけますか。
はい、ありがとうござ
Right.
います。
Thank you very much for the question. So again, thank you very much, and hello everybody. I came from Ryosoku-in. It's a Zen temple. I am the Vice-Abbot, and
話が
I think you, Yukako, you just mentioned about time and space.
把握
And
している
time is something you become aware of with your watch, right? And there are many people who are being chased by time, right? You are so busy. And a lot of people say, I am busy, I'm busy. So that's becoming the norm, but
ずっと自分を追いかけてくるもの
But
というような
it almost feels like time is something that's chasing after you constantly. But in Japanese culture, there is a concept to take time. It's almost like waste time. And then by doing so, you are going to be freed from this time being chasing you and time chasing after you.
建築や道具や
So this
されてきたような
is going to give us this freedom or a little bit of extra margin to pay more attention to, for example, architecture, be it my temple that I am working at. And I understand that there are many people from overseas coming to ACK, and maybe you have seen those little margins in life at Kyoto. And
という英語で
in English, it's called time and space. You think of these two as two split systems, but in Japanese, there is this word that combines the two together. So in Japanese, we call it jiku, which is spatial temporal concept, right? So again, it's when you look at the words jikan or kukan, which means time or space, the kan means space or margin, or it's that moment. It might be that connection between two different sounds. It could be this nice tempo of conversation that we have. Those are all the kan that we talk about. We sometimes say, hey, we had that great kan together with our dialogue. So in Japan, we from ancient times, we always called that timing that timing as kan, and I think that's one unique thing about Japanese culture. And because we have that kan or the margin, you are able to use that for something else. And so you should not try to fill all of that margin. At Kyoto, from the olden days, we have always been leaving a little bit of that margin there. And also, there's another word called tema, or that. Again, you're supposed to have that little kan or this timing, and then you should prepare for that. So this word tema, in this era of AI, you can produce results in an instant, but we are saying you should use this tema or spend some tema, which is the effort. So you're intentionally playing with time. You are spending some time for that extra margin. You can get a cup of coffee with a press of button, but you can spend that tema or timing, or you can spend that extra time to get a cup of coffee using 10 minutes. Maybe it's like 20 minutes for a tea ceremony. See? So there's this tema, which is enjoying that extra effort, and then also the margin, the kan.
改め
All
ま
right, thank you very much. Olafur, thank you very much for coming all the way to Kyoto. And we talked about the timing, kan, or that's this just the moment where I was able to segue into your discussion.
東條さんがお話し
So, as Ito-san just mentioned, this sense of time and then this extra margin of time can be used as playfully. I feel that playfulness of time is also living in your art pieces. So, regarding this spatial temporal feeling, how do you perceive this, and how do you use that in your artwork?
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I think there is different ways that we can shift between when it comes to time. I can talk about time as if time is over there, and we talk about time, or the time is like this, or the time is like that. And then we can talk about time as something we swim in. We swim in time. And we can say, I'm swimming fast, I'm swimming slow, and time is like the water. And then we can say that we are time, we are of time, or we are time in the becoming. We are timing. So then we don't take our time, we are time. There is ways of exploring this, because time also can be used for other things. Exploring, I can slow down. If I slow down now, I speak like this. So I have timing, and you are faster than me. Who is slow and who is fast? Maybe my slowness is my normal way, and you are all fast. I work in my studio with an anthropologist from UC Davis in California. He's a professor in slowness. And he says, slowness is the new fast. And he uses the work of it's not a monk, it's a shaman from Nigeria called Bayo Akomelafe, who's fantastic. And Bayo says, the times are urgent. Urgent. Let us slow down. Slowing down is about lingering the places we're not used to be. It's about deceleration, the opposite of acceleration, right? It's about deepening the intensity of the moment. So the idea of slowness is not to be slow, it's to be more, to get more, to see more, to feel more. It's about being present. And one last example of how time can be more than just time. If I stand in a landscape I don't know, maybe in Japan, and I look at a mountain. I look at some mountains, right? Trees, mountain, and I'm looking, and I ask myself, this mountain, is it 1 hour, 10 hours, or 1 day away? How far away? How big is the mountain? I don't know. Maybe there's no houses for scale. There's no cars. Maybe no trees. That's not Japan, I know, but no indication of size. And I look, and then I see on the mountain a waterfall. And the water is falling like this. If the water fall fast, it is a small waterfall close by. If the water fall no, I said fast, yeah. Fast, if you fall slow, It's a big waterfall far away. This means time becomes distance. I use time in my experience to indicate space, right? If I take a step and I start walking, one mountain comes close to me, other mountain does not change. That's the big mountain far away and small mountain close by. So the time it takes for me to walk becomes what opens the dimension. So time is also, like you said, space, and should never be separated from space.
Thank you, Olafur. 本当にまさに時空。
Yes, this word jiku, or time and space together, I understand that they are inseparable concepts. They are the same thing together. And then, Olafur, you always also use the word slowness,
逆に
and also how slowness is a good way to see more, observe better, and then learn better, sense better. And it is a way to maximize becoming aware of the present. So from here, I would like to talk about the relationship with art and Zen, or the passage of time, or the change in the space and time through the effects of Zen. So at Ito-san, at Ryosoku-in, that temple that you are in, for this past few years, you have been incorporating modern art, and you have done some exhibits. And I have also visited your temple a few times to see the artwork.
それでは
And I have seen some of the pieces of the same artist in different places, in different venues, but by viewing them at Ryosoku-in temple, then I can feel that I can take more time and appreciate it much better. I can feel it deeper. I did feel that personally as my experience. So I think that is exactly what Olafur was also saying.
もしくはアートを
So, Ito-san, by exhibiting art or supporting those exhibits at your temple, what do you feel? Why do you do this? And is there some sort of a personal relationship you feel with Zen and art? Right, thank you for the question. So, about 12 years ago, we started to support modern art, and then throughout the year, we have a few periodic programs. And before that, I was cherishing the old articles that was in the temple. So, I think I was, for about 10 years, I was thinking of how I can utilize the relics in our temple. And, well, my basic work was to clean up the warehouse. What do you think it's like? You know, maybe you're thinking, oh, it's just a cleaning, right? It's about 3 more times more difficult than that. Because you don't know where your predecessors has put all those relics, and then there are so many cobwebs, spider webs. So I would find them and then say, oh, this is from Korea, this is from China, and then it has come in what year. And so I was labeling them, organizing them, and then I was cleaning the warehouse. So that was what I've been doing for 10 years. And then one day I met this artist who was saying, I wanted to try out this completely new technique. So that was where I met modern art. This person was called Michael Bolemas, which is a Belgian person who wanted to try the Japanese ink painting. So that opened my eyes, and then I noticed how I was so stupid in doing this. I thought I should just organize the relics, and then I should exhibit many of them. But this Belgian artist only exhibited only 2 items, and that was a very big success. So that meant less is more. And I was I felt this contemporary art feeling in me. And when you think about my temple, we say there is this ink painting, Ito Jakchu, and there are so many masterpieces that are in our collection. But back then, they were modern art, right?
表現で
And it was the best way to express the time and age. And now, in our current day, we don't use paper and ink, we have much more media than that, like ink and paint and whatnot. So I thought this is connected to the Zen philosophy. We wanted the artists to translate our difficult to understand philosophy into something that's more tangible and visible. And Yukako, you said if you look at the artwork in temple, it may feel a little bit different. I think that is because we are trying to provide a space as an exhibit location. It's not just simple, just as providing a place.
東博とかの作品を見るには、
I thought you have to come to a temple to see those masterpieces like Tohaku. So we thought we were a gallery, a salon, and the museum and everything. But now, in this modern age, we have all those galleries and great places for that purpose. So, in the current day, what is the role and responsibility of the temple? It is a place for the artist to gain inspiration. I think that is something that's irreplaceable. We have our traditional buildings. We have the garden that has been maintained for ages. And then they can communicate with them, with those elements. And then you can sit and have a Zen meditation with us. You can eat the porridge with us. And then you can be part of the tea ceremony. And by going through that environment, maybe the artists, the good artists are going to feel that those things that they have learned, and they can turn that into an output. So maybe in their next pieces, they can see elements of Japanese space, color, and taste. And by having that good communication with the Japanese culture and these artists, it's great for us, and then it's great for the artists as well. So this activity to support artists, like I said, we shouldn't just maintain relics. When you try to support new performances as well, this is exactly the Zen philosophy. Because at Zen, you are going to break the mold of yourself yesterday. Like zazen, the sitting and having Zen, is also part of that. Sitting and having a meditation is mindfulness, but
今日あるかなっていう自分を裏切るんですね。どうやって裏切るかというと、昨日まで
so
伊藤っていう名前で生きてきて、今がやっぱりすごく想定している自分がいるわけです。
so there is this self, your concept of yourself, and then by doing this Zen, maybe you can
そのノックに対して
betray your concepts in a good sense. You have to keep on questioning if the norm is the correct thing.
もたらされるかもしれない。
So maybe what you thought was normal and natural and it was granted, maybe something different, and then you will have these awakening moment, and then notice something, you learn something, and that's how you can better your life. So I believe artists are also doing that. They are looking at things, and they're not taking that for granted. They are trying to focus on things, and maybe look at it from a macroscopic view, or maybe they can make a twist to it. And also, they are going to give us like the brutal truth of the world. So I think what the artists are doing is very similar to our Zen philosophy in trying to break the mold and then learn from there. So I would like to continue supporting the artists. Thank you, Ito-san. So you said you are going to betray in a good way of the norm, that be it like the artistic expression. And this summer, I went to the Berlin studio for Olafur-san. And when I visited your studio, I saw your new series with alcohol painting.
まさに今少し東洋さん
And that came to my mind when I was listening to Ito-san's story. So Olafur-san, can you quickly explain about your new series, please?
Thank you. And also, I appreciate the very generous talk about what artists are. It's nice. So in the studio, I have a group of people who are working with me, and we often focus on what we are working on, but we also sometimes focus on, are we repeating ourselves? What are we actually doing? And so we slow down. And then we think about, maybe we should try a new method, a new way. So I very often change language, but I generally speak about the same. I'm very interested in experiencing. What is an experience? I will get to the alcohol paintings in a second. So experiencing is something that happens when we meet the world. We experience here today both the artworks, but we also experience the frame and the wall, the architecture, the brutalist architecture, and the ambience, the atmosphere. We experience each other. And I experience the sofa. And in this way, we can ask, is experiencing something that happens to us, or is it something we do? Often, experience is something that is talked about as if it just happens. Nature, faith. But I think experience is something we do, we create. We are responsible for how we experience. We are responsible for how we talk to each other. We are responsible for our own feelings. I feel sad today. I don't, but let's imagine. I feel sad. Whose responsibility is this? Is mine. I am interested in what is a feeling. If we have experience, then we have a feeling. Where does the feeling come from? The feeling comes from an unmet need. Is that clear? I have a need. It's not met. I have a need for contact. I have no contact, so I have a feeling. So the feeling I cannot change, but my unmet need I can meet. So I go and I make a request. Can you give me, please, some contact? I need human interaction. I feel alone. I'm sad. The request is where I go to the world and I make a request. I don't make a demand. Well, if I'm aggressive, I make demands. Demand, you cannot say no. I cannot say no, it's a demand. Huh? But request, I also accept a no. I request human contact. My need is felt, feeling goes away, and I have a different experience. So see, experience, feeling, need, request. We are responsible. Sometimes we have no energy and it's too complicated and we just stay sad. I know. But sometimes we underestimate how much power we have. And this is the moment of Zen for me. What you talked about, Zen. It is to be present to your own strength, but not as a force of aggression, as a demand, but as a request. So when we, in my studio, change the language and we start something new, it is to look for what is the best language to be present to Zen with. Because if we have the same language the whole time, we can master the language. That's also not bad. It's not worse. But for me, it's more interesting to say, maybe what I say can better be said in different language. Maybe combination of painting or watercolor, sound, space, time. Maybe I can say it even more interesting and also more contemporary. So I started a new series of work which had very high degree of unpredictable qualities. And the work is made with alcohol color and very dry paper. It has small relationship with Japanese ink. Basically, you have paper and you put one drop and the one drop goes like poof, everywhere. So it's out of control. So for me, this work is about accepting to not be completely in control and then try to still say a request, to meet a need, to address a feeling, to create an experience.
ありがとうございます。ね、本当にこう今お話伺って。
Right. Thank you very much. So there is this controllable and uncontrollable elements, and then it is about how you enjoy that moment in the space and in your life. I think that's connected to the Zen philosophy as well. So this controllable and uncontrollable balance, of course, this is in our society as well. But also, living in the great nature is probably full of this controllable and uncontrollable things. So Ito-san, what I want to ask you is, what is the Zen philosophy about how to connect to the nature and how to perceive that? Thank you. So, yes, I think Olafur mentioned something really interesting, changing the language. That is a very high level of philosophy, high level of thinking. And especially you also mentioned about the experience, right? And let me just mention a little bit about that. In Japanese, it's called keiken and taiken. Those are two things. But in English, it's experience, one word. So I was wondering how that was going to be translated, but anyways. So in German, let me see. I have this cheat sheet, and maybe I'm going to butcher this. It says Erlebens and Erfahrung. Is it? Erlebens and Erfahrung? Is it? Did I butcher it? So, in German, they separate between keiken and taiken, but in English, it's only one word, experience. So I was wondering how Japanese people would differentiate between those two. And what I think taiken is more like you are actively jumping into that experience, and then you yourself are going to meet this new thing and explore. Maybe there's a small taiken, large taiken, but keiken on the other side, this is something uncontrollable. Maybe it's like a harsh experience. It's something that you didn't want. And also, maybe after you have the taiken, you meet something, and then you will turn that into keiken, which is like the experience again. So you have this bad memory, which is going to, through this active exploration of these activities, you can turn that into a better memory. Also, talking about the connection with nature, I have always been working on the garden at the temple. So during my training and even after my training, so ever since I was in my 20s, I have always been cleaning the garden. So when you think about what the garden is, a garden, the Japanese philosophy of nature is there is this great nature which is scary for us, like a deep forest. Maybe you're going to have the bears, you hear about the bear attacks. And then when people are managing it, but where you can feel it, then we call it satoyama. That's a little more man-made. So people, when they say, hey, I want to go to satoyama, that means like I want to go there for like some healing effect. And then when you say niwa, a garden, then that has more design effect to it. So it's more than satoyama. It's very artificial. And then if you keep on cleaning for years and years, the first thing you learn at the Zen temple is pick up everything possible, clean, sparkling and clean. And then that's you start to feel that it's not just blindly following rules and picking up all the leaves. So same with zazen, the sitting in Zen. It's almost like listening to the knock or this hint from the nature. So you will, over time, notice that the nature is uncontrollable. And then the optimum way of maintaining a garden is I'm really happy right now. The reason is because I know that the birds came back to our garden. We have the dragonflies as well. So I'm sure they were there before, but
さっきの手間です。
through this tema or this extra effort, you continue to clean the garden. And then if you are picking up every leaf, then you start to think maybe I have to chop all these the branches, then I won't have any leaves. But if you do that, then the birds will go away, the insects will go away, but you have the non-human creatures, right? You have the moss, you have the birds and the insects, and even you have the inorganic things like rocks.
たちがコントロールしようとしすぎてるなと思う。
I think we shouldn't control that space too much to live in harmony. And
そういった非人間との関係性も
I hope the visitors can see or reinterpret and re-understand this relationship with nature by coming to our garden. And then there was this one interesting article I read about well-being. And when you try to index the well-being, there are many different ways you can quantify it. But
声の種類がウェルビーイングの指数
there was this one index that had this positive correlation with the number of different birds that are chirping in your environment.
ついて
So, of course, if you are in a good location, then there are many different types of bird, and there will be chirpings. But also, if you are in a good mind of state, you will notice them chirping as well. And I think Yukako-san, you also mentioned that Olafur's art is going to awaken your numbed senses. So that's the same thing with the cleaning of the garden. You have to accept that you cannot completely make a 100% garden, and then you have to live together with the nature. And so I see I am still actively learning the Zen philosophy as I clean this garden. Right. Thank you very much, Ito-san. So you mentioned the word notice or like learn things about cleaning. And we do the same as we appreciate art. Sometimes art gives us a new perspective in our lives. It gives you this notice or learning, and then that is going to contribute to your better life. So Ito-san just mentioned about the Zen temple's garden. Olafur, 2 years ago, at the ACK, you have exhibited your work, and that art piece had this feeling of connection with the Zen temples. And I understand, Olafur-san, you visited Kyoto a few times over the years, and then I'm sure you went to some Zen temples, but
お庭のつながりもしくはお庭に集まる自然
what can you tell us about the gardens, Zen gardens, and then how the gardens and nature is connected as well?
Thank you. I think I came here about 22 years ago. I was 8 years old. So I came here a long time ago. I was invited by a Japanese cultural institution. It was the Naoshima Island, the Benesse Prize I got. And I was given a great tour, and I had a guide. And it was very interesting to come because it was the first time I went to see the gardens. And it was great to have a guide, because I realized that I had seen gardens in books, on pictures. And I had seen that I was not seeing the whole thing, of course. And then I came to the garden and I saw a lot, but then the guide showed me, here is something and this is that, and I saw more than I would have seen otherwise. And I realized I can experience more, I can see more if I make an effort. I can learn if I spend time. I have to change this idea that I know enough, I'm good enough. Or I have to say, not being good enough is good enough, you could say. So I was interested, first time I came, or after I came to the garden, that seeing is relative to the effort you put into seeing. And you can actually see a lot more than you normally do. So what we know, we can see. And sometimes we know things that we cannot see, but we know it's true. But most importantly, there are things we don't know and we cannot see, and then we think they don't exist because we don't know what it is. But we can still create a space here for the things that I don't know and I cannot see. I don't even know what it is, but I can tell there's a space. I put this, right. So here's everything I know. Then there's a line. Here's everything I don't know. No, here's everything I don't see or I don't hear about, but I know it exists. Huh? This is familiar. This is not so familiar, but somehow. And over here is what I don't know, that I cannot see, I have no idea about, right? But it's there. For this to happen, you have to be open. It's easy to be open to this. I have seen it, I know it, familiar, right? I have not seen it, but I know it's there. I heard about it. It's familiar, a little bit familiar. But here is unfamiliar. But I can be open to that. The future. Some future here. I'm flying. In 2 days I fly. I know. Here I'm flying to somewhere new. I know I'm going there, but I don't know what it is exactly. But I don't know what will happen. Unpredictable. That's the alcohol paintings, huh? Unpredictable is out here. And so for me, when I see something like a Zen garden or nature, I look for first, I see what I know. Ah, it's a tree. Now the tree is red, it's fall. I know this. Still, I can experience more. Then I look for what I heard about, because I only saw it in a book, a picture. Now I look, oh, wow, in 3D, in 4D, in 5D, it's different. Huh? And then I look, I'm open. I look for what I do not know, that I don't see and is maybe not even there. What is that? I remain open. I try to remain open. And this can be riskful, because it can be a risk, unpredictable, right? And so it's good to have a friend to go with you to the garden, because maybe I see something that is overwhelming. Maybe even a little bit so overwhelming that it's destabilizing. But I stay open. And I made a little poem about being open. Should I say that now? It's called I Am Open. I'm trying to be open, but I call the poem I Am Open. I am open to face my numbness. I'm open to vulnerability. I'm open to receive a no. I'm open to others' perspective. I'm open to slowness. I'm open to engage fully with my senses. And I'm open to explore where to place my attention. I'm open to fierce tenderness, and I'm open to asking why instead of how. I'm open to relax my attachment to outcome. I'm open to wonder and to sharing to our planet. This poem was called I Am Open. I am curious about the translation.
Thank you so much, Olafur. いやもう素晴らしい、本当に。
Right. That was excellent. Thank you very much.
お二人のお話を。
So when I am listening to both of you from an artistic perspective and a Zen perspective, just by being here in between you two, I really have this warm, positive feeling.
で今、
Now, Olafur, you just mentioned about being open. I guess in Japanese, it's called like awakening.
この
maybe that's another way of translating it. So I had this meeting before this this session, but Ito-san, what were some of the awakening moments in your career as a monk? Maybe it's the way you start to notice more birds chirping in the garden. Can you provide us a little bit of stories and anecdotes?
いかがせていただけますか。
ありがとうございます。
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think the poem was great, Olafur. Being open, maybe it's releasing yourself, it's freeing yourself, and
なと思っていて、特に弱さとか
also it is about accepting your weakness as well. It's your embarrassment, but you're openly accepting that because to meet new things and having new experiences, these can be related to making failure and doing something wrong. But I can feel that you have this strong commitment to being open and accepting them. So again, going back to the awakening moment, I have been discussing just before this session, but
一度自分が修行中に
so during my training days, there was this one awakening moment.
3年間私たち臨済宗だと修行の道場
At
に
Linzai-shu, we have to be in the training center for 3 years straight. The first 3 months, you first start to learn about the system and the training menu. It really hurts your legs and it's physically punishing. But during the zazen, you start to learn more about how to place your attention, and then you have this 3-year commitment. So about after 1 year has passed, you start to
ですね
there is this moment where you are becoming complacent, so to say. And then there this one day when I was training, and then in the evening there was this timing for zazen. But sometimes you are so hungry or so you're exhausted from activities, or maybe sometimes you are very fulfilled. So, there are many different conditions. You may be up, you may be down. But on that day, when I had the awakening, I wasn't too sleepy, I was not too hungry, and I was not exhausted. Of course, I was tired, but not exhausted. So when I was doing the zazen in the afternoon, then I was able to hear the sound. I was able to predict what kind of sounds I'm going to hear next. Of course, I'm not really predicting that like a psychic, but I felt like maybe the bird is going to chirp, and then moments later, you can hear the birds. And then the next moment, I would think that that door is going to rattle a little bit, and then the wind will blow and rattle it. So I was wondering, maybe I have become a true master. Maybe from tomorrow, I can just declare I have finished my training. So that was a really exhilarating moment. But probably, normally, when you hear that sound and then when you have to interpret that in your brain, there are many past experiences in your head that has this regular process. But when you're in this zone and in a perfect condition, then you are able to just freely accept that sound into your brain directly without going through all those barriers. So from the next day on, zazen, the sitting and having the zen, was a brutal thing until then because you had to just keep sitting. But from there, I was looking forward to zazen because by pressing my buttons in my heart or my mind, you were able to enjoy that moment and then say, I want to have that feeling again. And then you have this high expectations, right? You have this greed. You want to have that experience again. And then then I had this greedy zazen, which is the worst experience.
瞬間があったからこそ
But because I had that moment of awakening, after I finished my training, I have been an instructor for zazen for the past 20 years. But I only had that one perfect zazen, and then ever since in my career, I never had the perfect one ever. But because I had that one moment when I completely connected with the nature, that still remains in my mind forever, and that's why I continue to do zazen. Thank you very much. So you said you were able to have this dance with the birds, dance with the nature. You were able to completely connect with the nature in your perfect zazen. So this physical senses, Olafur, I'm sure you have that strong sense as well, this physical connection with nature. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes, so as I said earlier, I am very interested in nature, in the way we experience it. And the idea of being physical also comes from exploring how to best experience, or what is experience. Is experience nature, or is experience culture? Is experiencing a natural thing, or is it a cultural thing, how we experience? The mechanics of experience, the architecture of the experience. I had a similar awakening, not similar, but also awakening. It was very physical when I was 13 or 14. It was not in nature, but it was in front of a storefront, a clothing store, a fashion store. And there were some people in the store standing like mannequins, just like this, and not moving. And there were some people looking, and I lived on the countryside. So I go to see, why are the people looking at the clothes? Oh, it looks like people. And I was looking at it. Oh, it is people, I said. And I can see, suddenly they stand like this, and then they did. And I was like, what? And then it did. And it was like moving like robots. And I was like, my life has changed. In this moment, I realized my life has changed. And this was my beginning of relationship with electric boogie and breakdance. In that moment, I knew my life has meaning. I think I must have been 14, and I was just beginning puberty. And I was like, what is the meaning of life? Now I knew, easy. I will be a dancer in breakdance, and fantastic. This was a big change for me, and I became aware of my body. So I was like a landscape. And in this landscape, there was a void, a negative space. And that's how I normally think about it. Everything I am and what I want, and this is me here. But there's a void, there's a hole. In that moment, in one moment, the hole was filled. And I was like, whoa, right? We all know this, I think, right? You must know this too. You have everything that you are, and what you remember, what you will do, and everything, right? But there's a void. This void deserves attention. And sometimes we are aware, and sometimes we are not aware. But so let me say something about art, because we are in a context of art. Sometimes, maybe only one time in life, but sometimes we look at a work of art, or we experience, right? We engage. We don't look. We feel a work of art, whatever, any way you like, and you go like, I know this feeling. Whoa. This is me. This artwork. This is my void. This artwork is giving me stuff that I need. This is what I mean. Or you're reading a book, and you go like, I would have done the same. This is what I would do. This person in the book is me. Or you're watching a dance, and you go, whoa, whoa, this is me. This is how I feel. So what's going on? In this moment, I think we feel seen. It's very strange, because you are looking at a work of art, but that's not interesting. The artwork is seeing you, and it is seeing your void. And you go like, I am being seen by this artwork. The book is reading me. The dancer is giving me my body, right? So it's a reversal of Western idea of taking over the world. It is accepting that sometimes the world is giving you yourself and filling up your void. Now the interesting thing is we can go home from a museum and we go, wow, I was seen. I must exist. Don't you sometimes wonder if you actually even exist? I can feel myself. I can feel my feelings. I must be good enough. I care. I am going to vote because I am worth something. I'm exaggerating a little bit now, but do you understand the principle in if you feel seen, if you feel acknowledged, if you feel heard, if you feel met, you're more likely to experience connectivity with everything else, and you're more likely to be engaging in the world, such as voting, right? So I'm very interested in, some experiences are fantastic and important, but some experiences are like not an experience of a work of art, but an experience of ourself. And this is what I think is, for me, when I saw the dancers, or what with you and the birds, you actually experienced a different way of one's own experience of oneself. And this is the question about the self. It's so interesting, right? It's a long talk, the self. It's a whole talk, the self. So I'm very curious about when we engage in art, it is because we are looking for ourselves also. Wow. And sometimes language and art history and curatorial statements and all of that is okay. But it's maybe not the most important, because the self, where am I? Who am I? How am I? And why am I? Good question. So, yeah, good luck.
ありがとうございます。
Right. Thank you very much, Olafur. So, your self-awareness, and also it's this engagement with the external environment and our third parties.
今
So, Ito-san, based on Olafur's comments, what do you think, or are there any questions or any feedback to Olafur? Yes, self-awareness. I can talk about this for 1 full hour, no problem.
本当に今のアートを
So, when you see the art is also seeing you. That is, and also by doing so, you're able to fill that hole in yourself, and then you're able to exist there. You're having this interaction. You're having this conversation with the art. That experience is. I think that was a really great way to explain the reason of art. So I wanted to talk quickly about what self-awareness is.
存在を認識
So I wanted to connect to Olafur's comment saying being recognized.
課題の
So in a few years from now, in the society, we are going to have this challenge of loneliness. In the Zen philosophy, normally we say this loneliness is a positive thing. Maybe you need to be loneliness to be creative. Maybe you need it for self-reflection. But it's a good thing to be alone. But it starts to become your existence in this society becomes vague. Maybe you're being deprived of all of your responsibilities or
アートがすごく
and your
という話と
your roles, what you can do in this society, are being taken away by being alone. So this feeling of connected with the society, now here in this stage, we are in this one big group together. We are connected. I feel so.
これを本当にみんながもっともっと持
But
っていけるようになる
whether we can feel that, everybody can feel that in the room is up to meditation. And because I am as a trainer of meditation, I have a few different steps. So the first step is first to notice the things around you, like the birds chirping. And the second step is to lower your barriers, becoming open, And then this is how I think it, but I always tell people, think of yourself as like a thermography. You know, you have that thermographic image, right? If you're hotter, it's red or orange, and then if it's cooler, it's blue or purple, right? So if you have this strong barrier, if you're not open, then yourself is like a very blurred outline. So you have this very thick outline if you have this wall between you and others. But when you look at the thermography, you have red, and then it goes into gradation all the way to yellow. And you have this. So thermography is, of course, it's a scientific way to see this temperature gradient. And it's a little bit different from the way you see things. You have this one filter. And then meditation is also the same. You are questioning the own lens, your eyes. And then you're trying to break free of your thoughts.
自分の壁が弱いというものを持っているかどうかで、まあ、今みたいなサーモグラフィー的感覚でいられると、まあ、まず
So if you can think of it as a thermography, then you can feel like you're connected with others and you feel safer.
自分でも
So you know that you can be warmer, so to say, and then connect to the next heat blob right next to you. So we're not like completely separate 1 and 0, but like a thermography, I'm sure between us there's this warm region. So you can be warm and then try to connect to others. So what I want to ask you, Olafur, is from your perspective, looking at the current society's loneliness issue, are there any comments or what is the responsibility of humans?
と人間の役割
Maybe there are some areas where you're going to need more human intervention, maybe some that you don't.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think loneliness is going to be one of the biggest issues, as it turns out that screen-based interaction only represents a degree of connectivity. So we have in today's world the highest amount of teenagers, preteen teenagers, and in their early 20s who are seeking mental health support because they're feeling lonely. And at the same time, this same group is the group who has the most friends ever in the history of young people. So it's a paradox. It turns out that physical presence to each other has a very important neural influence, and it means that experiencing things only happens when there is a dimensionality to what you experienced. You cannot experience things only on a screen. It sounds logic, but if it is so logic, why are most experiences still communicated over a screen without we, the parents, I'm older so I can say that, are critical, like really critical. We are a little bit critical, but not really critical. I have worked for 12 years now with headsets, 13 years. I am a beta tester for one of the big companies in the world who are making headsets. And I am asked to criticize, and I'm very good at it. I really criticize because I am interested in what does it do to our brain. I'm sure it will never disappear again, you know, the headset. It will change. So we have technology, which is about connectivity, but we also have disconnectivity. I think the challenge lies in feeling connected. Let me try to remember. Feeling connected also has to do with accepting a lot of things about things that are difficult to accept. How should I say it? When I talk about accepting vulnerability, we live in a world where being sure and being precise and being good at predicting is a success, and being uncertain or like vague, being soft is unsuccessful, right? You have politicians. You don't have politicians who says, yeah, I don't know, boop, 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 boop. Well, let me think about it. You never say that, right? Or you have in companies, the CEO who says like, we are good, I don't, well, you don't have that. No. A real man is like, yes, no, 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 right? That's a man. You don't have men who are like, well, I have to ask my friend. That's considered unmanly, right? So you have a very clear system of values which we even don't agree with. So there is a new trend. I can just say that. I don't know if it's true, but I just say that. There's a new trend that softness, to rest, to be blurry, like out of focus, right? I'm undefinable, is a resistance to macho paternalistic patriarchic capitalism, right? Capitalism is like, I need your money. I give you experience. Spar. Open your mouth. Right? Capitalism. Macho. Energy is non-negotiable. I know the truth. Next year, the value of company, the stocks will go up, and this is this. If it's not true, we fire and we hire new. Next year, more money. Yeah, we like. Do you see? So here we have now young people, the loneliness, and they feel difficult to be sure. And we train them, the parents, come on, you cannot be so soft. Come on, be sure, I want success. And some parents even say, otherwise I don't love you. I need good grades before I love you. Then you create small narcissistic monster, right? This is how we have the next CEO, the next political leader. So you started this. So what we are trying to teach, or what we are trying to support, is softness. This project here is about opening up for tenderness, to be slow, right? To soften, and to say, maybe it's a good work of art, but for you it is, for you it's not. Capitalism hate that. You cannot have relative artworks. Quality is high or quality is low. Nothing. This relativity of quality is impossible to marketing. It's impossible. Insurance companies, tomorrow it's expensive to insure, and day after it's cheap to insure. Insurance value go up, and no, it's impossible. Right? So everything is about heart stiffening, patriarchy, macho. I want to create spaces where we have connectivity. So the opposite of connectivity, this is interesting, I think, interconnectedness, the opposite is not disconnected, because they are connected. The opposite is addiction. Addiction to fashion, to money, to success, to patriarchy, addiction to drugs, to self-medication, addiction to winning. I need to win, otherwise I'm not good enough. If I don't win, I'm not a winner, and then I'm not good enough. The opposite of addiction is connectivity. Do you see? It's a very interesting. So what we can do to support the questioning of loneliness and to change it is to work against this kind of culture of the winning and the kind of the success criteria. And again, artwork is fantastic because they are soft. The life of a monk, it's a good example, is an institutionalized softness. That was funny.
いやまさに今のは本当にね。
Yes, that is a very deep opinion. So
もうソフトネスの
You said the Zen temple is the symbol of softness, and I think the temple is a platform for knowledge and aesthetics. And by knowledge, I mean this is the crystallization of the knowledge that has been accumulated from our history, and then we have to pass that down to the next generation. And aesthetics is something that opens your mind. So in terms of opening yourself up, each one of us, we have our own philosophy, and we have our own thoughts.
してくださいって言うと
And when you ask people to have a discussion, and then if you have your own concept or something, then they are going to clash, and then it's going to turn into a fighting pose. But if you can let that go, open your fist, then you can shake hands with others. So this aesthetics is a tool to open your hand and say, "Oh, this is so beautiful." Then when you're in an awe moment, then you can put your fist down and then open your hand, and you can start to have this softness. And I believe that's the role of the temple. So again, we are a platform for knowledge and aesthetics. So whatever can be on this platform generally, but in our Zen culture, please think about our culture. Mostly men are the leaders, right? We have the monks, and then they are the teachers or the trainers. And then they will teach you how to do the zazen. And then those who are going to read the okyo, the scripts, are also men. So I feel this dilemma. So what I'm trying to do is to first bring in more females to the temple as a counter to that movement. And then we are trying to incorporate as much as possible the females' ideas, because we are always men. You know, back in the days, we said, "Oh, that's too girly. That's feminine. Let's not do that." But in this present day, I am going to say we are going to encourage more of the women to speak up. So I wanted to ask you, Olafur, you work with many different types of people, but in your studio, you have your decision making, right? And
民主的な
so how democratic is that decision making, or is there like one leadership position, and then this person have the final say? How democratic is it?
My studio is not democratic at all. I decide everything. And when I talk to the people, it is not a question of democracy, it's a question of honesty. Because it is, you know, democracy is an ideological point, but honesty is a humanizing point. And it's very difficult to be honest. It's really difficult, I mean, to be really honest, right? It's better to be a little bit honest and, you know, protect yourself. So when we work in the studio, I remain open for unforeseeables. And I try to have one room in my studio which is like a garden with birds, but it's inside. So I have a room. In this room, experiments, ideas, intuition, which has no client, no gallerist, no owner. In this room, we can take the ideas that I don't know yet, and I did not even know they existed. That's in this room. The room very often is empty. And then typical, the logistics, they put the boxes. And I said, don't put the boxes. I said, the room is empty. No, it's not. It's just not full. So, in the sense of honesty, instead of democracy, let me come with an example. We can be we can be subversive. Is that a word that translates? We can be subversive in the interest of honesty. Some of you are listening to me talking in English, and some of you are listening to the translation. I will make a small deconstructive experiment now. Oh, I'm sorry, what he says now I cannot translate into Japanese. He is really rude now towards the Japanese people. I'm so sorry, I cannot translate this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to put down, I'm going to leave now. I'm not going to translate for you anymore because what he says is absolutely unacceptable. So this is an example of me being subversive. And of course, you all understand English. It's just a courtesy that we have a Japanese translation, as I understand. But the interest was to deconstruct the reality and to make it clear that the voice in Japanese is different than my voice in reality. There's a discrepancy. It's an interesting discrepancy because the translation will have an element of what is called explicitation. The translator is trying to do his job as good as possible, and the closer he gets to what I say, the better it is. How is it going translating this? So I can even send a message also. So in this way, the Japanese is not the same as the English, of course not. The same way I was listening to your voice has a degree of tenderness in my left ear. And in my right ear, I hear the English translation of your voice. And that is, I think, quite precise. It's a very good translator, by the way. But it does not have the same amount of tenderness. Because he's not translating the tenderness. He's just translating the meaning of the word. Now we are being very granular. This is where honesty lives. The walls. Why do the walls look like this? This is a more honest wall than in Basel. Because Basel is pretending to be a museum wall or white wall. This is not pretending. This is like constructed. Everyone can see it's constructed. So this is my favorite walls in an art fair ever. Because they're more honest. See, honesty is also in this. Let's go back to, and that's the end of my answer. So we have lowering our attachment to outcome. I am open to lowering my attachment to outcome. Outcome is the success. I want to be rich. I want to be young again, and I want to be happy. Happiness is over there. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, I will be there. But when I go, happiness always is 1 week away, you know? So outcome, I lower that. I also lower my defensiveness. I'm defensive because I'm like, you're there, I'm here. No. Defensiveness I do to protect myself because there's so much. My galleries always want something. My kids, they want something. The market wants something. The success criteria want something. The macho values want something. And I need to be defensive because I cannot take it. I can never be soft. So I lower my defensiveness. I relax my attachment to rejection. I become more open. What happens then? I become vulnerable. Oh, you know, softness is hard work. To be soft and undecisive is like, because my bank person goes like, save money. So I try to be soft. Vulnerability means people can see it and they know I'm being honest. When I'm defensive, I'm like, no, yeah. Walls? I don't know. So I'm not being honest. So honesty and vulnerability connected. And now the most important thing about honesty, I think, and this is where the studio practice comes. Out of honesty comes trust. This is so important. If you have honesty, you trust the person. And this is the highest level of success in my studio, when people trust each other, when they trust me. Sometimes they go like, my God, they don't trust me. Oh, Olafur. But sometimes they go like, wow, we trust him. It makes no sense, but we trust him. We do it anyway. See, trust is like the highest value we can achieve. If we have trust, we can have trust between faith. We would have less wars, less, should I say, exclusion, less marginalization. We become more human. So I think there's a quote by Sarah Schulman. She studies conflict resolution in UCLA, and she's also a playwright professor. Sarah Schulman says, nothing challenges dehumanization more than inviting the person you disagree with to your table and listening, right? Not the person you agree with. You can invite also, but the person you disagree with, the conflict. And it's not to talk, it's to listen. Because often the experience of being listened to will already depolarize. It will take away the sort of the conflict element, and you will start accepting we are just not the same. It's okay, we don't have to be the same. I can be friends with my brother here without being the same.
Right, thank you very much. That is something that we would like to listen to more, but we are coming to the end of the session. So, Ito-san, at ACK, this year's theme is 2050, Vision Toward the Future. And do you have any comments on how we should look at the future? Can you give us more directions? I think Olafur also gave us that direction, but from your perspective, what do you feel? How should we see the future? Well, I am an optimist myself. So towards 2050, I think it's going to be a better society, of course. And then as I listen to Olafur's opinion, first, if you look at it from the entire global perspective, I have this very big question of what is humanity going to do by 2050? And I want to have this anchor in my activities as well. I don't want to drift too much from that anchoring point, which is to deepen the mutual trust. And Olafur, you said being honest and is going to have this lead to trust, the mutual trust between two people. So by deepening this relationship, the trust with people, the first thing you have to have is to have your self-trust. You have to trust in yourself. I think with the new technology that are coming in the future, I hope those technology can help us with our self-trust. And this is something that I haven't been able to do anything yet, but I would like to continue to disseminate my positive message and collaborate with many people, scientists, technology engineers, and many corporates, artists. I would like to continue to have this dialogue with people and then think about how we can mutually have a trust. And then to do so, first of all, I have to trust myself and then connect to the future. And I still don't have I think I have an even clearer vision by listening to Olafur. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. So, Olafur, do you have any closing comments, last comments? That's also for Ito-san as well.
I want you all to send together with us, no one mentioned, no one forgotten, a wish to Brazil. These days the COP is going on, the COP30, and maybe there is some way of sending some positive energy into what is probably one of the world's most important gatherings for the future. How on earth, and I mean on earth, is it gonna go well so that in 2050 we will not all be suffering some kind of downside of the climate crisis? So let's just send good vibes, the good Kyoto vibes to Brazil, where they are actually just waking up for another day of travesty. Let's send the love we have for the world and for the planet to them and hope for the best. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
本日は京都ダイアログ
So today our title was Kyoto Dialogue. We had artist Olafur Eliasson and then the Vice-Abbot Ito Toryo. And listening to the two of you,
私たちが今生きる、時間を作り上げてきたものに対する、感謝です。
I have this deep gratitude to whatever we have created until now, and also towards the future. I would like to enjoy our future into the fullest by slowing down.
本日
So
時間の関係で
again, today we are running out of time, so we cannot accept any Q&A from the audience. I'm very sorry, but we would like to close this session. And of course, if you have any questions to these panelists, they are still here in the venue, so please walk up and casually talk to them and lower your barriers. So again, Olafur and Ito-san, thank you very much for a great discussion.
改めまして皆様ありがとうございました。ACK トークスでは
So, thank you very much for joining us today. After this session, ACK Talks will hold a closing talk to wrap up the event. And then this talk will also be available online and in an archive session as well.